Hey y'all, it's my review for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 5. Now, as y'all know, I'm sure y'all heard the news about not having a reunion, the low ratings, etc. I did a video about it yesterday, so if you want to look at that before this review, you can check it out. I said everything I had to say on it. But anyway, I just finished watching this episode, so this is my second watch, and I was pissed off. This episode pissed me off. Like, we could just fast forward to the brunch, honestly, but I'm gonna go through it. But anyway, let's get into it, because I just have so many thoughts. So we have our usual montage of the ladies around Jersey, and now we're with Dolores and her family. They're at this steakhouse. It's her, Frank, and their kids. Paulie couldn't make it, and Frank's girlfriend couldn't make it either. So it's just them. She just gives us like an update on their lives. Like, Dolores, she's been living with Paulie for a year and a half. She's in the townhouse. She still has that other house, but her kids live in that. And Frank seems like he's ready to propose to his girlfriend. It seems that Dolores likes living with Paulie, but at the same time, it's not her home. Dolores wants the home for the both of them, something like they both own. So I'm guessing that, they will both sell their homes and then live together. But for them to move on to that point, Paulie needs to get a divorce, as well as pop the question. So then Frank is talking about how he's going to propose to his girlfriend, and he shows his family the ring, and then he does a mock proposal to Dolores in the restaurant. Dolores goes along with it and she says yes, but you have the people behind them cheering and clapping. Like, that's all it takes is for somebody in that restaurant, because they all know who they are at the table. That's all it takes for some false information to be out there. This was a cute scene though. So next scene we're with Melissa, Rachel, and Danielle, and they're bringing their sons with them to this like Dave and Buster type place that has like bowling and go-karts. And I guess I didn't know that Melissa and Rachel, the reason why they know each other is because their sons are best friends. Wow, and her son is 16 years old. I just can't believe it. Like, we were there for her son's christening. I know it's not probably that one, but it's the younger son, but her sons are actually like teenagers now. It just makes me feel old. After they play a few games, ladies go off to talk for a bit. We found that the next event for all the ladies is going to be hosted by Danielle. She's having a bougie brunch in celebration of her kids line debuting in New York Fashion Week. The ladies are aware that, half of them probably aren't speaking to each other, so they say it could go one way or the other. Danielle then asked Melissa about what she talked to Jennifer about at the charity baseball game, and Melissa's just saying that they agreed to have a lunch with each other. And Danielle also asked her about Teresa. And if y'all notice, whenever Melissa is asked about Teresa from a cast member, she isn't ready to bite their heads off. She just says, oh, well, this is what it is. But, compared to Teresa, whenever you bring up her brother or her sister-in-law, like, she'll be prepared to, like, bite their heads off. Like, I don't want to talk about that. Why are you bringing up my family? Anyway, Melissa's talking about how when she saw Teresa and Louis, like, they didn't say anything, but she made sure that her son said something to his aunt. Now, I thought that was really commendable of Melissa. Some of y'all said that she just did it for the cameras, but I disagree, because even when they were on the outs in past seasons, Melissa always said that she didn't want her kids feuding with, their aunt, uncle, or cousin. When Danielle hears this, she brings up her issues with her own family, like her brother, and now she's not talking to her dad. She said she hasn't spoken to him in a year. They ask her why, and she said because he's defending her brother, and she just doesn't agree with that. It's just, something in the buttermilk ain't clean. Like, I'm still, like, growing to like Danielle, but there has to be a bigger issue at play. Because I remember the original reason she said she wasn't talking to her brother, and I was just like, that can't just be the issue. They're like, there's something deeper. Anywho, the other ladies are just trying to tell her that, you only have one dad, and, when they leave this earth, are you going to be happy with the relationship that y'all had? Next scene, we're with Jennifer and Teresa. They're at Jennifer's husband's Bill. I remembered his name, y'all. They're at his plastic surgery clinic, just getting some spa treatment. Side note, I must say, Jennifer's hair looks nice here, being that her head is usually up Teresa's ass most of the time. As they're getting their facials, meanwhile, we're at Margaret's house and she's talking to her husband and Marge Sr. I swear, every time like the cameras show Marge's house, like the front of it is just so hideous to me. Do y'all agree? So they're talking about the baseball game where she had a fight with Jackie. And it started with, Jackie and Danielle arguing. And then when Marge stood up for Danielle, that's when her and Jackie were really going at it. We're now going back and forth between the two scenes, and we see Teresa and Jennifer talking about the charity game. Jennifer is telling Teresa, her boss, what went down in the locker room between Margaret and Jackie. Teresa, she hates Margaret at this point, and she says she hopes Jackie sees Margaret for the person that she is. And then Jennifer then suggests to call Jackie. We're back with Margaret, and she's telling them how Jackie told her that she never defends her. Now, when I heard that, I was like, is Jackie serious? Like, I believe Margaret always had her back when, she was up against Teresa. So now it just feels like this shift in dynamic is just so calculated on Jackie's part. And I didn't really clock her as that type of person. So it seems like Jackie is aligning herself with Teresa for personal gain. And with Jen Fessler, it just seems like she's just trying to be a fan and she just wants to be friends with Teresa. I don't really think that Jen Fessler, is pressed to be on the show. I think she likes her friend role as it is. But I think Jackie, she was in danger of just completely being off the show. And again, y'all, that is just my opinion. You tree stumps, y'all can love Teresa all you want. I do not care, but on this platform, I'm gonna say my opinion. We're back with Teresa. She's calling Jackie. She lets her know that it's her and Jennifer have her on speaker. It also seems like Jackie is aware they're calling her for information, but she tells them about Margaret anyway. Jackie's now saying this bullshit that she wasn't a strong person back then and she was just trying to appease people to make them happy. Actually, Jackie, we saw you as a strong person for standing up to Teresa and her bullshit. And what you're doing right now makes you look spineless. Lord, we cut to Jackie's confessional and she says she's not an idiot. She knows that they're digging for information, for fuel for the fire. But on the other hand, it is nice that they're concerned about her. I love how she just contradicted herself so effortlessly. Like, Jackie isn't dumb. What she's doing is calculated. So after they get off the phone with her, Teresa's like, that is so nice. Let me follow her on social media. She wasn't even following Jackie. But, me and Teresa, we're friends now. Teresa then literally shows the camera that she's following Jackie. And as she's liking pics, she's like, I'm not going to like this one because Margaret's in it. Moving on. Next scene, we're at Danielle's house and Teresa is over visiting. She's just talking to Teresa about her upcoming fashion show. As Danielle's showing her the kids line, Teresa compliments it. She's like, oh yeah, these are nice, and basic. And Danielle, she hooks onto that word basic. She falls to the floor. She thinks it's a negative thing, but Teresa was like, no, I mean where it's in Macy's, you'll sell to everybody. And then we cut to her confessional and she reminds us that she has a fashion background. She used to be a buyer. And I will say in this scene, Teresa comes off more tolerable than she normally is. Because I do think that's a fun fact about her, that she used to be a buyer for Macy's before Housewives. So then they're talking about Danielle's upcoming brunch and she's letting Teresa know who's all coming. And it seems like all the girls are coming except for Jen Fessler and Margaret. And when Teresa hears that, her whole face lights up. Anyway, she tells Teresa she heard that Jennifer was making fun of her. She was impersonating her, imitating her, but she still threw the rock and hit her hand by bringing that random woman to talk shit about Danielle. All Teresa has to say is, you can ask Jennifer. Danielle says she actually has a lot of things to address with Jennifer, including when last season, she still feels that she was set up. We get a little flashback of last season, as well as the reunion, and Danielle was absolutely set up. Danielle then asked Teresa, why didn't Jennifer tell her that Melissa knew the rumor in the first place? Teresa takes no accountability whatsoever. She's like, you're just gonna have to ask Jen that. And she also says, when Jennifer told you, you didn't have to repeat it. They were totally egging her on to repeat it to Melissa, on camera. Again, it's just am I in the Twilight Zone right now? I feel like I'm being gaslit. Well, speaking of Jennifer and Melissa, next scene we're with the both of them meeting up for lunch so they can talk things out. So the conversation starts and Melissa points out that they've been here before. Production reminds us of their previous truce. I don't remember what season this is from, but then Jennifer says, well, Melissa, you're no saint either. You do things too. Does she? Teresa and Jennifer were trying to get back at Margaret by trying to say the rumor about Melissa, hoping that Melissa and Margaret would get into it, and I guess Margaret would be iced out. But the plan backfired because I guess Melissa already knew this information already. She didn't feel Margaret was the blame of this. And yeah, I mean, it's not that hard to follow. Like, we saw what happened. Like, y'all set Danielle up to set Melissa up. It's not that hard. So I just feel like I'm being gaslit when Jennifer says, well, I didn't do anything. So the conversation continues, and wow, Jennifer just threw Danielle under the bus, saying that Danielle pressured her to say the rumor. So at this point, Jennifer admits that she was trying to get back at Margaret and Melissa was just collateral. Melissa's like, well, that should have nothing to do with me. What you have against Margaret, that's between y'all, but don't talk about my marriage. So things kind of start to go left when Melissa tells Jennifer that she has a hard-on for her husband. And then Jennifer's like, actually, honey, it's a lip dick for your husband. That was kind of corny to me, but Jennifer is right. Joe is an asshole, but Melissa wants to get to a common ground where she's not talking about her husband anymore. I'm not sure why Jennifer is bringing up the two occasions where Melissa didn't speak to her. Like, first of all, you were with your boss, Teresa, and secondly, Melissa has a reason not to talk to you over what you did to her last season. Melissa tells Jennifer the reason they didn't speak to her is because of who she was with, and they were trying to keep their distance. And she didn't really make an effort to come over to tell Melissa anything. So finally, the ladies get to a point where they can both just move on cordially. And then they're talking about the upcoming event at Danielle's. You know, I feel like everyone's expecting this shit show to happen. So next scene, we're at Marge's house with Jen Fessler and Melissa. First, Margaret's talking about how the anniversary of her ex's death is still weighing on her and it's beginning to affect her marriage with Joe. So as Margaret's saying that this has been affecting her mood lately, Jen Fessler tries to imply that it's actually spilling over to her friendships as well. So then they get to talking about Jackie. And, you know, I feel like Margaret is mad at Jackie for aligning herself with Teresa. And she says, you're really aligning yourself with somebody who doesn't give two shits about you. And I agree with her. And for the tree stumps that keep bringing up that Margaret told Jackie that I've been defending you my whole life and they've known each other for, I want to say, maybe 3 or 4 seasons. Y'all know what she meant by that. Like, since I've known you. Like, y'all excuse all the dumb shit that Teresa says all the time, but when someone else says something, it's just like, oh my God, that's what she said. It's just like, the line is always moving. So then the topic moves to Melissa meeting with Jennifer. She's letting them know what happened. You know, Melissa gotta be Melissa and add some spice on it. And she's still kind of talking negative about Jennifer, even though she said she wouldn't have. And now she's mocking Jennifer, which I don't think that's a really good impression. Like, I don't care for Jennifer Aiden, but she does do some damn good impressions. Melissa, I don't think that was great at all. But Jen Fessler is egging her on to do it again. All right, so next scene, it is the day of Danielle's bougie brunch, and all the ladies are arriving. Oh, so it seems this time, you know, even though it's Danielle's event, she invited Jackie. And then we see these 2 other random girls who are Danielle's friends. They've been around the ladies, but, you know, they still haven't had any, screen time. Side note, I also want to say here on out to the end of the episode, Melissa's facial expressions were everything. The face Melissa made when Teresa walked in as she continued to sip her drink was priceless. The cameramen are shady, they caught every expression of hers. So first the topic of conversation is Dolores' business, and she's getting a little tired waiting on Paulie to get divorced. She's eventually going to bring it up to him. So later the ladies are commending Danielle on throwing a bougie party, and then Jennifer says that, she was actually inspired by her bougie parties to throw one for her dog. So I think that's how we get the gateway to the conversation of what happened. They were talking shit about Danielle at that party. So yeah, Danielle tells Jennifer directly, I heard you had somebody at your party talking shit about me, and you and Teresa allowed it. Didn't back me up or anything. So then they're talking about who it was, and we get more clarity on what actually happened. Like, I guess it was a hairdresser or the help that came to the charity event, and she was in VIP, and she didn't have a wristband. And Danielle says, yeah, she wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't know her. Why is she in the VIP? After Danielle explains the situation, she tells Teresa and Jennifer that she feels some type of way that they didn't defend her. And this is kind of what sets Teresa off a little bit, saying, well, I didn't know the situation, so don't be coming at me. So now Teresa is clueless. The way she'll have an aneurysm if someone doesn't show loyalty to her and, back her up. But it's different when it's Danielle and when it's, someone's talking shit to Teresa. Like, she don't know the situation now, so she can't stick up for her. That line always moving. Melissa's face. I believe Melissa was all of us when Teresa said that. Well, not all of us, because you still got the tree stumps who think Teresa does no wrong, but she contradicts herself constantly. Like, she places a set of rules on somebody that she herself doesn't have to follow. We cut to Danielle's confessional, and she says that she doesn't feel the reciprocity. Like, she used to ride for Jennifer and Teresa last season, but she says she don't feel it in return. Danielle then calls out Jennifer for allegedly making fun of her. She said Jen Fessler told her. Dolores, she kind of clears it up. Jen Fessler told you? Danielle says, well, Jen Fessler told Margaret, and Margaret told me. Now, in this situation, I probably wouldn't be too hard on Jennifer because she honestly mocks everybody. That wouldn't bother me. So then Jennifer comes at Danielle for questioning her about how she invited Jackie to her puppy party, and the statement that she made, oh, I guess this is a reoccurring thing with you. She was like, what does that mean? You know what that means. So then, Danielle has to put Melissa in this argument now. It's like, back when, you told me the rumor and you didn't let me know that Melissa knew already. And Jennifer's excuse is, oh, well, I couldn't tell you how I heard it. I mean, I feel like we're seeing through the bullshit here. Like, for some reason, she didn't want to tell her that Louis talked to Joe. She knew what she was doing, her and Teresa. So then Danielle asked Jennifer and Teresa point blank, did y'all set me up? Again, Melissa with these facial expressions. She's like, like, she's saying everything without saying anything. Jennifer says, no, I know it may look like that. And then Teresa's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I agree with Danielle. Like, all y'all had to say was, Melissa knows. Like, the way y'all framed it to her was like, Melissa didn't know. And then Teresa then throws it on her minion, Jennifer, I didn't tell you. This one did. We cut to Teresa's confessional, and she's saying Danielle has little birdies in her ear. You're the little birdie in Jackie and Jen Fessler's ear, though. The theme of this episode is the line is always moving for Teresa. So now Teresa does what she always do when she's backed into a corner and doesn't want to accept accountability. She wants to change the topic and I don't want to talk about it, especially with my family. That is just her escape button. Your own family don't fuck with you, remember? And then Teresa has the nerve to say, if anything, we were set up. Margaret was the one about the rumor. Well, y'all really didn't mind repeating it. Wow, so they just really moved on from the conversation. And then Jennifer, she wants to ask Jackie now, what was she fighting with Margaret about? Before Jackie can even respond, Teresa says, she don't care about you anymore, Jackie. And then Melissa interjects and says, Jackie, don't listen. You are way smarter than that. But sorry, Melissa, Jackie is already drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, I'm sorry, y'all not gonna make me hate Margaret. Margaret has always been behind Jackie, and just all of a sudden, like, she's gonna listen to Teresa over Margaret? I know Jackie feels stupid now trying to play the alliance game when there's now no reunion and they're 80% likely to be changing the entire cast. The topic then moves on when Danielle asks Rachel, did her and Teresa talk yet? Teresa's like, do you really want us to talk about this in front of everybody? Like, I know y'all like to give me the center of attention. Oh, Teresa's just such the itch in the ass, and I just don't understand why y'all love her so much. And again, the camera catches Melissa in another expression. Like, I need someone to really post all of her expressions throughout this brunch. Teresa then tells Rachel, I never said your husband was a drug dealer present. For the umpteenth time, the sheer fact of why you brought up that her husband was a drug dealer was the problem. You were bringing it up as a dig. What is not clicking with this empty-headed woman? She is definitely a Trump supporter because she's displaying all the characteristics of one. So the conversation is going left already. Like, Rachel is saying the same thing I am. Like, this, why did you bring it up? Like, the implication of him being a drug dealer was a dig in itself. Teresa is going back and forth on semantics, and then she's like, trying to get this eye for an eye thing. Like, you talk to Louis' ex, I'm talking to his ex. The Fudas didn't have Teresa and Louis investigated, as well as Louis' ex was talking. Y'all sought out Joe Fuda's ex. Rachel ain't backing down and letting Teresa have it. And Teresa's like, don't poke the bear. What you gonna do? What you gonna do, convicted felon? You gonna hit her? Cause my petty ass would charge you with assault. Rachel then asked Teresa point blank, what was your intention of bringing it up? And then, you know, Teresa has that deer in the headlights, mouth open look. I brought whatever's up out there. And then, as Rachel's calling her out on that, she then tries to pivot to calling her husband a parking attendant. And, like, I guess trying to say that he don't make any money. Again, Teresa, what does your husband do for work? Rachel needed to ask that question. Rachel's being sarcastic. Yeah, he's a parking attendant. He has $5 in his pocket. And then Teresa says, oh, well, maybe he should have been a drug dealer then. Whoo, I mean, this is when it goes off the rails. Now, Rachel says her husband has built a life for his family. What the fuck have you done, bitch? Now, here's the thing, Rachel. You know, I can't stand Teresa just like you, but that wasn't really a read with Teresa because Teresa, you know, she's been able to pick herself back up after being convicted. Like, you know, I'm not a complete hater. It's also funny because Teresa could have, like, did a laundry list of what she did after she finished prison, but, you know, she's not really the queen of comebacks. So then Teresa's like, she's young and stupid, she doesn't know better. Rachel's like, well, you're old and stupid, you fucking has-been. Again, Rachel, you were good with the old and stupid, but I wouldn't call Teresa a has-been because she's still technically the star of the show. So here we go, Dolores the mediator, she wants to change the topic. Now this isn't going anywhere. So then Rachel calls Teresa a bully and then kind of throws Jackie into it by saying, you came after Jackie's fucking marriage. Now this can of worms has been opened. Then you have Jackie on the sideline saying, I don't fucking care anymore about that. Girl, production, y'all should have ran the footage because Pepperidge Farm remembers how you were having like a shaking, nervous breakdown that rumor came out. Melissa even calls out Jackie's bullshit. Jackie, she talked about your marriage. It hurt you. I will never let you deny that. Jackie then comes at Melissa and tries to shut her down. Melissa has definitely been in Jackie's corner, so I don't know what Jackie is doing right now. I don't recognize her. Like, go back to my old reviews when Jackie came on and was stepping to Teresa. That was a different person that I was rooting for. And then she's like, oh, Melissa, don't do that. I know what you're doing. It's very apparent. But you're even more aware of what Teresa is doing. Damn, so now Melissa and Jackie are going back and forth. Crazy. Jackie then tells Melissa, why are you trying to convince me right now to still be mad about it? After hearing that, Melissa just retreats because I think she sees what's going on here. Jackie is now a lost cause, but then Danielle, oh my God. I wanted to stand up and like just give her an applause because she's like, hold on. Like she points at Teresa, I love you, but this is comical to me. Are y'all serious right now? And I mean, I know y'all saw last week how Dolores was like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone now? How is Jackie and Teresa now buddy? We see Melissa now saying, thank you. Like, it is apparent what Jackie is doing right now. It just don't make no sense. Like, this is the part where it just frustrated the hell out of me. And I was like, thank you, Danielle, for bringing it up. I would have never thought I would start liking Danielle now. Danielle tells Melissa, you're really dogging your girl right now who has had your back when you were going at it with this one. Jackie knows she's caught in the corner right now, and then she's like, guys, you can fucking put your shit on me, but it's not gonna work. Yeah, it's not gonna work because not only are you a coward, Jackie, you're pathetic. She's basically saying she's letting go her issue with Teresa, and if anybody got a problem with that, too fucking bad. This is some weak, yellow belly, coward ass shit. Ooh, I was so mad after this episode, y'all. So as the ladies are getting their last course of their meal, Teresa does another thing that she always does. She exits the situation when it gets too hot or the accountability is on her. My daughter has a volleyball game, and she makes sure to get her swag and then leaves the party. So then as Teresa leaves, Dolores says, well, this situation is gonna fester, it's gonna build in a couple of days, and then you're gonna get the wrath. Girl, Dolores, stop it. Stop it. Ain't nobody afraid of Teresa's ass. Like I said, what's she gonna do? What is she gonna do? I just hate this, we gotta walk on eggshells around Teresa. Maybe you did, Dolores, for whatever reason. Look, you're a great friend to her. I commend you, but don't nobody gotta tiptoe around Teresa like you do. If I was Rachel, I would have told Dolores, thank you, but let that bitch bring the wrath. And I'll bring it right back to her ass. Melissa speaks for all of us. Oh God, who gives a fuck? Rachel then says she's so incompetent and so emotionally fucking stupid. And I totally agree with that statement. And here go minion number one, Jennifer saying, she's not the best at reiterating her thoughts. We know that. Just excuse after excuse after excuse. The line is always moving. That is the name of this episode, y'all. That's the title for it. I got it. Rachel then tells Jennifer, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. Thank you, Rachel. Jackie, shut up. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Move on, minion. Rachel continues to rag on Teresa and says she's not God, she's not Jesus. And Dolores says, well, if I were you, I would sleep with one eye open. Respectfully, Dolores, shut up. And that is where the episode ends. I would love to know y'all thoughts. Like I said, I was really frustrated by this episode because I just feel like the ladies can't stick the accountability on Teresa like I want them to. But I'm glad that at least half the ladies see through the bullshit. Anywho, y'all might get this video on Wednesday because my work schedule is crazy this week. So yeah, and then after that, I'm gonna get to the Real Housewives of Dubai. Can't wait to get to that. But as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.